A lot of what you learn in college isn't in any textbook.
My lectures, although the topics are covered in the textbook, I don't lecture from a textbook. I mean, why would you take this class if the only thing you're going to get from me was in the textbook?
Professor Richard Bennett teaches criminal justice at the American University in Washington, D.C. Like other professors, he shares his own research and other sources of information with students.
They're facts that are presented in the textbook, but I want to be able to have them understand the concepts and be able to put the concepts into context. And most textbooks do not do that.
Just reading the text won't do in this class either. Professor Pamela Smoot teaches Black Studies at Southern Illinois University.
While they're reading that material, I use maybe 3 or 4 other sources to complement the textbook. So it's important that they be there. If they are not in class, then they have missed out on a lot of other information.
Information that shows up on tests in Tiffany Wishard's Communications and Law class at Lycoming College in Pennsylvania.
And I had students come up to me and say, oh, I didn't have a clue what that answer was. So, well, you missed class that day. And it may only be 1 point or 5 points, but that can make a difference if you miss a lot of classes.
And that's not all you'll miss. There are clues to future test questions, I imagine, in your lectures.
Absolutely, and I will tell them sometimes this is going to be a good multiple choice question. This is a good true-false question. Think about it in these terms. And so that's the other bonus too. If you come in, you get those kinds of tips that you miss from just reading the book.
Your professor may also give tips on what to focus on in the textbook.
In a very long chapter, you might read and feel like, gee, I've got information overload. The professor and what they cover in class should highlight what's important to study.
Case in point, this freshman anatomy course at Prairie State College near Chicago.
You cannot overemphasize catabolic and anabolic, very important terms.
Dr. Craig Nelson steers students away from portions of the textbook not intended for first-year students.
I tell them where to study, where to put their time in. Stay away from that pit, it's too deep. Someday you go in graduate school or medical school or nursing school, you may go in there. Someday somebody may push you in there. It isn't going to be me, and we don't need it for this course.
Students in Professor Benita Kolb's marketing class are expected to read their assignments before class and then...
I am now going to tell them what are the 3 or 4 things out of that chapter that are so critical that they better remember them when they're in a job interview. But I'm going to be embarrassed they have our college's name on them if they don't know.
Profs also unlock the meaning of difficult readings. Here we're in a philosophy class at Alfred University in New York State.
Now this is a dense passage. Let me explain what he's saying.
Now let's drop in on an English class at Indiana University, where Professor Kathy Smith and her students are interpreting a short story.
We're going to come back to that very point, because what does that suggest? Has the outcome been prepared for? Why jumble up the time? There's something else going on here.
Students reach a better understanding of the reading as they share their thoughts.
What else? Good. What else? Yeah, Amanda? And we talked about conflict being what, Josh?
And class is where you learn the tools to better interpret future readings.
We evaluate or analyze plot according to 2 criteria. What are those? You'll give me the 4 or 5 kinds of conflicts. What are those? Fiction writers frequently employ 2 devices.
Think someone else's notes will capture what went on in this class? Think again.
That class experience simply can't be made up for in any other way than being there, and that a lot of the work of college goes on in that classroom. A lot of thinking, a lot of weighing of ideas, a lot of measuring of evaluating ideas, that kind of thing. I think, and you can't compensate for that sitting alone in your room reading the material.
Math and science classes offer another dimension: problem-solving tips.
That is how you get yourself out of trouble when you have a trig limit. And I would definitely recommend that you draw a picture just to help yourself sort out what's being asked.
There are some folks out there that get this mixed up. Now, if you're trying to figure out which one it is, well, think about a tree. If I'm standing up here and I'm a tree, right? What's on the bottom of the tree? Roots. Now, if I am king of the hill, top of the heap, I won't start singing, I have the power. The power is always on top. The roots are always on the bottom. So if I see this, I think of 3x divided by 2. Now we're in good shape. What's going to be the answer after you've got that done? Jenna.
Here's what professors provide: facts, context, and interpretation you won't find in your textbook, clues to test questions, tools to analyze what you read, and problem-solving strategies for math and science.